So normally I wouldn't be covering the Oscars because I really can't stand most of those people, and I don't watch their stupid shows, and I know that they hate half the country, and they hate people like me who are just not one of their partisan hacks who, is woke and submits to all of their demands. So I really have no use for them. And more and more I don't even watch their products. I don't watch their movies. I just don't. But who could miss the, slap heard around the world last night? My friend Joelle texted me. She was like, MK, Will Smith just smacked Chris Rock. I'm like, what? So I looked it up on Twitter. For those of you who didn't see it, here is what happened after Chris. This is the uncensored version that you could only get. What? I'm getting two different pieces of information. What do we got? Censored or uncensored? Oh, well, why are we showing them the censored? We should be showing them the uncensored. Then let me set it up if we're going to show you the censored. Chris Rock got up there and made a joke about, he clearly ad-libbed it. He was introducing like best documentary. And he said something like, oh, there's Will and Jada. Jada, you're going to be great in G.I. Jane 2. And it was clearly a reference to her head, which she doesn't have hair. And I don't want to say she shaves what hair she has. She has alopecia, which is a condition that causes your hair to fall out. By the way, she rocks the bald head. Jada Pinkett Smith is an example in class and beauty. Nobody else could look as good as she looks. She can do anything. So she's sitting there looking glamorous and gorgeous, but he made a comment about it. And I don't know that Chris Rock knows she suffers from alopecia. She has gone public with it. I've interviewed her a few times. She's public with it. But that doesn't mean Chris Rock knows that. I don't know what magazine Chris Rock is reading. He's probably a pretty busy guy. So he made a comment about how she's going to be great in the next G.I. Jane 2, which is Demi Moore shaved her head for that first film. Will Smith laughed initially, but Jada immediately was sort of shaking her head. And she, in a classy way, was sort of showing him, I don't like that, but she wasn't going to make a big thing about it. But the husband changed his mind and did decide he was offended, or at least saw she was upset, decided to defend his lady, got up on the Oscar stage and smacked Chris Rock. And then when he went back down to the stands, the seats, said, basically, don't effing talk about my wife. Get my wife's name out of your effing mouth. Here's the clip.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? that was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane joke.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
I'm going to, okay? Okay. That was a greatest night in the history of television. Okay.
What do you make of it, Sohrab? There's a lot of opinions on this today.
So first of all, my take is that I grew up watching the 90s Oscars. Those were the truly kind of last halcyon days of Hollywood. And Will Smith was just kind of this figure of a wholesome 1990s that I remember. So from my point of view, first of all, there's this sense of loss 20 years later, where everything has somewhat darkened. You know, American power has declined relatively. We've gone through 9/11 and the Great Recession and COVID and, et cetera, et cetera. And our celebrities, the wholesome celebrities of the 90s, have somehow gone down, have declined along with that. So there's this kind of poignancy about whatever that was that transpired. The second thought is there's something very 19th century about this. I don't think people have commented on this, or maybe say late 18th century, where if someone, insulted your lady, you stood up and you slapped him, and then you had to duel. It was the slap was the beginning of this code of honor kind of thing, where you went out and dueled. And there was some element of the vulgarity afterward. You wouldn't see that in a Russian tea room, but the slapping and the prelude to a duel, I guess we're better off now that men don't resolve these kinds of differences with pistols. So in a way, maybe
now
that's
that would have been a ratings getter. By the way, the ratings have been tanking steadily for the Oscars for the past 20 years. It used to get like 40 million viewers. Last year they got 10 million. I imagine last night's numbers will go up because people heard about it and turned on the show to see Will Smith smacking Chris Rock. I'll tell you, I have a couple thoughts on it. I've been sort of wrestling to figure out how I feel. It's like it wasn't immediately apparent to me how I felt about it, other than, wow, that's shocking. In the end, I understand Will Smith wanting to defend his wife. That wasn't the way to do it. I think he would have looked stronger, and I think he was looking for an opportunity to look strong. To me, that looked like a man trying to look strong, not necessarily being strong. And I think he would have looked stronger had he scowled and dealt with it after the show, directly, man to man, as opposed to like making a spectacle out of himself in the moment, which to me just seemed almost needy in its demand for attention. That was how I felt. Like I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, and I love Will and Jada. I'm not like, I'm rooting for them. I love her in particular, but I thought it was a bit of a performance on his part. I think it came across, I don't think it was planned, but I think it was a bit of a performance. And I think he would have been better served if he had gone the classy road that his wife always goes. Make the face, move on. You're Jada and Will. You don't need to like respond to every stupid ass joke. And Chris Rock, I don't know whether he knew or he didn't know, but he has taken a few shots at Jada Pinkett Smith. He took one at the Oscars, I guess, in 2016. She didn't go because she didn't think it was, I don't know, diverse. Maybe that might have been Oscars so white. I can't remember. And he basically said, her not coming to the Oscars is like me not going into Rihanna's underwear. We weren't invited. So, okay, that's kind of fun. If you're a public figure, they're going to take shots at you. That one's kind of funny. I don't know the history. But I do know that all those celebrities who stood and clapped for him when he went on to win Best Actor, the Oscar for it, and surrounded him and cheered him, Sohrab, at the after parties, would have been having a very different reaction to him if he had been white and Chris Rock had just remained Chris Rock. I do think there was some level of pass given, and I don't totally understand why.
I have to bring this up because it's huge on the internet. It was huge on the internet when I was looking at this in real time last night, Megyn. Aside from that issue, which a lot of people commented on, I don't know where I stand on it because I think I saw a lot of condemnations online too, but that it was staged. This was the Academy's desperate effort to revive its ratings. I don't think it was, especially now. I mean, I watched the versions early on that were appearing over and over on Twitter. But when you just played it with the full sound on the big screen here, it was like that's 100% real. Mm-hmm. It was just, it's a human moment. It was a very human moment and too raw to be fake.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.